Thanks for tuning in again, everybody. We're back with your favorite podcast, Luca's Tigers and Bronze. Oh my.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Luca's Tigers and Bronze. Oh my!
Look at this guy. Happy today.
How can you tell that, Cage? How do you know?
You look like a happy camper today. The audience can't see you, so I'm gonna read what you look like for the audience and let them know you look happy. Am I right?
I am very happy. I wasn't this morning. I was talking to my parents, and family stuff is family stuff. But I'll give you the gist of it real quick. I believe people live their life in two ways. Either they're on offense or on defense. And I think what happens in life when you're younger, there comes a point where you get punched in the face. Life hits you, something, project starts, a business starts, and it doesn't go your way. You might not get the promotion you wanted. You might not get the opportunity you want, and it punches you in the face. And I think that causes people to go on defense. And my passion in life really is helping people to, no matter what happens, is to stay on the offense, stay on the attack. I think the best, what do they say? The best defense is a good offense. I don't think it always applies, but I definitely think it applies here. And that's what I wish for people. Stay on the offense, attack your dreams, attack your goals. And especially when they don't go your way, stay on the attack.
All right. And your parents, they didn't buy this?
Well, no, my mom's like, I told you, Andrew, when we were in Mexico, you were watering the lawn and we were going to get the highest water bill we ever had. It was $750. And usually, Andrew, it's $430. And I'm like, okay, do you want me to call them? And she's like, no, I was telling you. And I'm like, what about the businesses that you've wanted to start with, like dermatology products? You could use your energy on that too. So that's like, to me, it's like a mini microcosm of, are you worried about the bills? Are you worried about the little things? Or are you staying on the attack and thinking of ways to generate revenue?
You like to quote, learned people. You like to quote folks all the time. And I'll quote two of America's greatest philosophers. It's DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince when they said, parents just don't understand.
Dude, it was the 30-year, was it the 30-year or the 20-year anniversary of that show yesterday? It was 30 years, right?
Well, aren't they bringing it back? They're either doing a movie, they're doing a remake on Netflix. They're doing something. I'm telling you, they're bringing it back.
What's so cool is being here in Mexico, I have a smart TV, and I get Fresh Prince here. I get the Fresh Prince here, man, and I love that show. Being from Philly, Will Smith being from Philly, I grew up on that show. I love that show so much. And that show, Will Smith's whole story is amazing. If you ever get a chance, just go YouTube some of his interviews. But
talking about the whole open marriage part of his story, or?
No, I don't vibe with that. I don't not vibe with it either. That's not what I listen to. I don't really understand relationships. He talks about how his dad asked him in West Philly to build a wall. And it was like a huge wall, him and his brother. He's like, you guys have to build this. And they're like, we can't do that. We don't know anything about building a wall. And he's like, well, get it done. And the whole summer goes by. They come back to the dad and like, we did it. And he said, now don't ever tell me that there's something you can't do. And he said, what Will Smith said he learned from that is the way you build a big wall is not by building a big wall, is by putting your one brick down the best you can. And brick by brick, they were able to build a wall. And that was the lesson. And he does a much more charismatic, better job, like Will Smith always does, explaining that lesson. But it was a lesson that, and you saw me yesterday, I was anxious as all hell. I was worried, and I get in those tendencies, but I think we get in those tendencies when we try to think of too much and we lose focus of what can I do today that moves me closer to my goals? What are the one thing today that will get me closer to my goals? And going out and doing that as best as you can. Which today for us is our episode, right?
Well, for Luca Nation especially, too, there's a lot of, macro stuff going on in the hobby world. A lot of people panicking, a lot of people, sell. But you don't get bogged down in that. What can you do? What's one thing you can do today? And it's to listen to us. Oh, yeah. We're going to have some good picks today. Just focus on your one play. Focus on one stuff. And, this is I like it. I like one brick at a time. I feel motivated by this.
Good. What did you think of football being back? Did you watch the game?
I read a headline that said, the football coming back was an unhappy surprise for the NFL. I didn't click on the article, but I guess the ratings weren't so good. So I'll have to read about that. I guess people didn't watch. Yeah, I'll tell you one thing that I was happy to see, and I know it was only a limited amount, but at one point, I saw an extra point being kicked, and I'm like, look, there's fans, and that was cool. That was cool to see. Because we've watched basketball with no fans. We watched baseball with no fans. And, it was a minimal amount of fans. I don't know if it's 15%, 10%, 20%, whatever they have in the stadium. But it was cool to see fans celebrating. I'm sure they're not that noisy and the whole deal. But
did they spread them apart? Did I see that? They
were pretty. They're pretty separated. People? Yeah, they were pretty separated. Yep, it was pretty cool. So interesting. But yeah, what do I think about football? I think Patrick Mahomes is very good. I think he's very good. I think Edwards-Helaire, their running back, is going to have an opportunity to be a really good running back this year. I think if anybody listened to us on the Will Fuller play, it went exactly to plan, and he didn't even have that great of a game. He had like 8 catches for like 112 yards or something like that. Didn't even get utilized that much. But we said he's their number one target, and he's, they're going to be playing from behind pretty often as well. They're going to be throwing the ball. So he had a great game. If you listen on that. I think it's going to be a long year for the Texans.
Bill O'Brien.
You can't judge it based on one game, obviously, but no, I mean, you can't judge it on one game against the Super Bowl champs. They didn't look that bad, but I think they've lost some key pieces, and we'll see. But it was nice to have football back. I like sports, right? It's a distraction. I mean, ultimately, that is what it is, right? It's something else for us to focus on.
So let me just real quick. I don't want to beat up on Bill O'Brien here, but I love people that fail their way up to success. To me, it's like one of the most fascinating things in the universe. Take a guess on what Bill O'Brien's coaching record is.
I'm going to say 500.
Exactly. 54-49. This guy got promoted to be a GM. And he gets rid of DeAndre Hopkins. Oh, man, it's a joke. I think it's hilarious. I think it's one of the funniest things to see. I don't want him to fail, but come on.
I don't know his name, but the Texans have a new defensive coordinator. And some of the schemes that the Texans were running last night were very impressive. They were showing looks that I've never seen. I mean, I'm not an NFL quarterback, but you could tell, besides that one play in the very beginning that was called back, they were flying all over the field. They were giving different looks. They're getting Mahomes off the field. Mahomes didn't have he had a good game. He had an efficient game, but it was nice to see teams trying to scheme and show him something that they've never seen before. So, the
Romeo Crennel.
No, he's not anymore. It's a new guy. It's a new guy. It's not Crennel anymore. It's a younger guy. I think this is his first. Deal. We'll move on. I'll get you the guy's name, but he looked really good.
They moved him to assistant coach. Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, they got a new D coordinator, and you could tell, J.J. Watt looks healthier. He looks better. He's building his arm back up, and that defense could actually probably do some stuff this year. So.
Did you notice the Chiefs' defense was a lot better?
Yeah, well, they have to be, right? I mean, they're going to beat these high-scoring games, right? So, they get lucky last year with who they played, but to go back and repeat, their offense has to be just as good, if not better. But they had to get better on defense. They can't just be shootouts every game.
I think we're going to see some of the best, some records broken this year by the Chiefs. I think they're going to have the most insane point differential that we've ever seen in history, because they're that team that improved their defense in the offseason, and their offense is they're never going to take their foot off the gas pedal, right? They're not that kind of offense. So I think they're going to start blowing teams out, and whether you're gambling and you're looking against the spread or you just want to take a look, I think they're going to shatter some point differential records, which I think were held by the Patriots that year when they went undefeated. But I think we're going to see some good stuff.
That makes sense. Anthony Weaver, by the way, that's the defensive coordinator's name.
I cracked the Da Vinci Code. Can I tell you about it? So
yes. Isn't it like E equals MC squared? Isn't that like Da Vinci's Code or something like that?
Sort of like that, because I was always trying to figure out why LeBron always had this turnover of coaches. Why, or is there such a turnover of coaches, and why did they need the perfect coach to coach LeBron? Like, this is a phenom, right? And I figured it out. Did you watch the last 5-10 minutes of that game?
Yeah, I watched the game.
any normal human being that's a coach would freak the fuck out, right? Like the way the Lakers were playing when they were up 20 points, and would you agree? Like just about any coach would freak out at LeBron and the team for the effort they were showing.
Well, because look, it wasn't really that close a game, and they shouldn't be making it that close, right? If you're a coach, you're pulling your hair out, saying, "What the hell are you guys doing?" Right? I get what you're saying.
So LeBron's that interesting guy the interesting competitor. He's not someone that plays with intensity. He actually, I think, in my opinion, kind of shies away from intensity. And at the end of that game, what I saw is they're the Lakers are just playing ball. Like they're not going to tighten up. They're not going to be more aggressive. And for a coach, you need a really specific coach that's low key, that lets LeBron do that. Lets LeBron have that space. If you look at Tyronn Lue, David Blatt, Vogel, they weren't freaking out. Another coach that's more Spoelstra, like these are very mild-mannered coaches, and that's what LeBron needs. So I think that's actually cool. I don't think everybody needs to be a Russell Westbrook, a Michael Jordan, a Kobe Bryant that's just a tenacious competitor. That's one way of winning. But there is that other way of just stay true to what we do. We're going to have lapses. We're not going to be the hardest working team or the most aggressive, but we're going to out-talent and out-execute. And I think that works when you don't have someone on the bench that's going to freak out, because I was watching that game. I was like, if I was the coach, I would freak out on that team. That's insane.
Oh, I mean, I guess you have to trust that LeBron is basically like having a coach out there on the court, and that you don't have to freak out because, he's got it under control out there on the court, I guess.
He really is. He Bill Russell was the last player coach?
Mm-hmm. In basketball, yeah.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of LeBron.
Pete Rose was a player manager. I think we check his 1986 Topps card. It's got his position. I think it was first base M. It has both his position and manager on the card. They used to have manager cards and stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure the 86 Topps is a black. It says red zone, and I'm pretty sure it says that he's a player coach. Pete Rose. But yeah, it used to be a little more common.
I love it. So anything else top of mind, Cage? I know it's your first week back in New York City. Today's an emotional day. We could touch on that. I know you did an amazing post today on our page. I think people should go ahead and read that article if they have some time.
Right, it ties it into sports, right? I mean, it's an ESPN thing. It ties it into sports and sports story. He played lacrosse for Boston, and it's just a cool, different story. It's one a lot of people haven't heard. That's what people have commented, and reached out and said, thanks for sharing that, because it's not a story I hadn't heard of before. Every day people become heroes. You're my hero, man, because you show up every day and put out amazing content. So there you go. There you go. So no,
you're my hero, but because of how you take, I've seen you behind the scenes, and we can't bring you this content, Luca Nation. But before we film, after we film, how Cage is with his two kids, Leah and Ian. He's super dad, man. You should see what this guy's able to do in a day. He's able to get work done. He's a high profile lawyer, like Suits. He gives each of his kids the time of day, full attention. We want to play ball. You want to do arts and crafts, whatever it is. He's with them. And dude, you're a super dad, man. You do more than a day than I could.
Luca Nation knows better. They're not going to fall for your stuff. They know you have one and only hero, and his name is Tyler. So with that, let's move on to our picks. What do you think? You got a pick for today?
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's probably my. I don't want to. His co-host is actually my favorite player right now in the NBA, Mr. Klay Thompson. But I don't think Klay Thompson is a good card to buy. But Mr. Stephen Curry is an amazing card to buy. And I'm seeing a lot of big money flow into Curry cards. First off, hands down, if you look at market cap for all of the rookie cards, his is some of the highest with the lowest pop. He has no cards to buy. What I saw last night, I love this. I love watching $200,000 cards, because I think they're the first cards to go. And his Topps Chrome Refractor, both of them, the PSA 10 and the BGS 10, sold. That's a $300,000 buy. And I brought you guys this play I think it was about a week and a half ago. And I just wanted to remind you. So it's a reminder play, and I think it's one that's going to start trending up. but it's the Panini Prestige PSA 10 numbered 157. Curry PSA, I wouldn't mess with Raws. I think at this point there aren't going to be that many Raws out there.
I remember you recommending this one. It was like, there was somebody announced $4.99. There might have even been $5.99 and stuff. And I'm pretty sure I watched them and they were both gone. Is it still in the same range? Are there any available like that? Because I remember this play. I didn't buy him, Luka Nation. I was gonna. I watched him and I saw somebody bought him. Maybe somebody listening bought him.
There's one for $7.99 or best offer. There's a few for $1,000 and best offer. It's one of those things where it comes back to me talking about trend following. Like, it seems like a big deal to go from 500 to 1,000, but I actually just think it was undervalued at 500. There's no way a Curry card should be the same fucking price as a Tyler Hero card or the same as a Trae Young card. With all due respect, these are different caliber players, and not even that. Trae has millions, like 5,000 Prism PSA 10s. Curry's pop is so low. So I think it's.
Let me just stop you there for a second, by the way. So I actually got this comment from a couple of people. So Curry's pop is low. I take for granted sometimes that our listening audience knows all of these terms and all this terminology. And somebody actually asked me, you guys say pop, you say pop, you say pop. What's pop? And I'm like, oh my God, there are some people here who are trying to learn from us. So we're not going to go through it right now because, I'll give my pick and the whole deal. But pop, for those who don't know it, refers to the PSA population report. It's short for population. If you go on psacard.com, right there's a link for a population report. And basically what it is every card that they've graded for that specific player. This one here is Steph Curry's Prestige from 2012. It's got him in his Warriors uniform. There are other ones in here. Show the card number out again. What was the card number?
It's 157. I like that. I like that it has the Warriors jersey. I just think that the market doesn't respect college jerseys for whatever reason.
But if you were to put that in 2012 trade, just 1 second. On PSA card, if you were to type in the population report section 2012 Prestige Curry, that card will come up. And it will show you how many of those cards they've graded. That's a population report. And it'll tell you how many 10s there are, how many 9s there are, et cetera, et cetera. It's a great resource to look at, and that's what pop means. And I'll let you just go ahead and jump in now, but we will do just like we promised to do a football episode. And when we do that, we'll do kind of like an intro to terms. We'll do an intro to the card stuff. We'll do like more of a beginner thing. Because it seems like there are enough people out there that want us to at least spend a couple minutes going over those common terms. And it's a great question. And I'm glad somebody asked it because, if you have it, there's probably other people out there that have it as well. So, man.
So 2 things. It's 2009. I misspoke. 2009.
Oh, yeah, I said 12 also. 2009, yep.
2009 Panini Prestige, number 157, PSA 10. There's 276 PSA 10s. Now, let me layer something else on. I've created an account with Beckett Grading Services, and I run both population reports. I want to see the full picture. And I even look at SGC population report. And literally, I just go SGC Grading Company population report into Google. Beckett Grading Report population report into Google. I want to see the full scope. I know that SGC doesn't grade a lot, but I still want to see if there are cards with them. I think it's a valuable piece of information that's completely free. This is free information. And then I see, look at this Curry market. Like, this is one of the best players, and he has 276 PSA 10s. I haven't checked Beckett yet, but let's say 500 BGS 9.5s and no graded by SGC. Well, now there's literally 750 gem mint cards of Stephen Curry. That's nothing compared to Luka or Trae or some of the other guys for literally easily a Hall of Famer. In my book, he's a top 5 player of all time because he's changed the game.
I like it. It's a good play. He liked it. He likes it. It's so nice. He brings it to you twice. So here we go, guys. So my pick is, like I said, I took a little bit of heat for being more expensive than you yesterday. So we're going to swing that pendulum right back to where it belongs. So my pick is the complete and total other end of the spectrum for you. And what we're going to play here is a 2020 Topps Bo Bichette Series 1 card number 78. Again, 2020 Topps Bo, B-O, Bichette, B-I-C-H-E-T-T-E. And hopefully you're subscribed to our podcast, you're following it, you name it, and you're one of the first, 10, 20, 30 people that listen to this and go out and buy this card, because the reason why I'm bringing it to you is Bichette's been injured, but reports are that he's going to be coming back this weekend, all right? And Toronto, if you watch baseball at all, has played incredibly well recently, incredibly well. He was a big-time player coming into the season. Everybody was going after his cards. And let's just say between last year and the beginning of this year, before he got hurt, he's played 60 big league games, hitting 323, 16 home runs, 22 doubles, 8 stolen bases, through only 276 trips to the plate. So, I mean, you can extrapolate that over a season, and he's an all-star in the making at 22 years old. And in the 14 games he played this year, before injuring his knee, he was batting .361 in his first 64 plate appearances. Blue Jays are expecting him back.
Pretty swaggy dude.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing, right? So I didn't get that, right? I mean, like the hair, the style, the whole deal. He's got a swagger. He's got kind of like he's got like more to it than just a, robotic baseball player that you normally have. He's somebody you can have some hype behind, right? But the cool part is that the Jays, the Blue Jays, they've been playing great. I mean, they beat up on the Yankees recently. They got, I think they're ahead of the Yankees. They're definitely a playoff team presently, and they've played as good, if not better, than any team for the last couple of weeks while he's been out. They've been replacing him with Joe Panic, Jonathan VR. I mean, players who are not his caliber. So he's going to come right back into the lineup, and he's going to really help that team out. But what's good about it is no one's looking at it right now, right? Football started, basketball playoffs. This guy's been injured, and I saw today cards selling for as low as $3 to $4. Lots of 3 or 4 for $15, $16, $17. Lots of 10 in the 60s. And what's cool about that is, here's a card that's $4 to $7. The PSA 10s are still $100. So you can find this card. You can buy this card for a couple bucks. Buy a lot of 10. Buy a lot of 15 of them. He's going to come back. He's going to finish strong. He's going to be one that I would tell you this is a play where I would buy, try to look at pictures, try to get some good ones, buy a bulk, a lot of them, and send the best ones in for grading. And it's a card that you grab that after bulk grading you get back next season. When baseball starts up again, this is a guy who who the PSA 10s are going to be significantly expensive. I mean, already $100, but I think that'll be more. Obviously, if you get that grade back and, you want to sell it now for 100, when you're buying it raw for 6 or 7 or 8, that's a nice return. Well, listen, so, I mean, just recap on it. Bo Bichette, card number 78, 2020 Topps Series 1. I'd buy him raw. I'd buy him in bulk. You can grade him if they're good enough, because even right now, even with him being injured, there's still $100 for a PSA 10 selling today. So, it's a great card. Yeah, he's got the legacy, right? His dad played. He's a cool kid. He's got the hair. He's definitely one of those fan favorite kind of players. He's 22. He's young. He's going to be around for a long time. So, nice, easy, inexpensive play.
What I'm seeing in the baseball market is we got Trout, we got Mookie Betts at the 400 range. And then we have these interesting crop of young prospects that are sitting and hovering between that $200 to $300 range with their graded PSA 10s. I think what's cool is if you're able to spot some of these younger up-and-comers like Bo Bichette, I mean, Tatis was sitting at less than 100. Soto was sitting at 120 earlier this year. They're gonna trade at that $200 to $300 range. I think that's a really interesting range, isn't it? Like you keep seeing like Acuna, Soto, Tatis are all within $200 to $300 depending on the day.
I would even say Tatis might even be considered somebody that I would be looking to add now, because I've seen his card still over 200, but it was as high as almost 3. And in the low 2s, this is a guy who right now is the betting favorite to be the National League MVP. He leads the league in home runs. He's got a ton of steals. He's batting like crazy. He's got a ton of extra base hits, RBIs. It's over 400 runners in scoring position. I mean, it basically has all the things you look for in the MVP. He's going to win the MVP. The card's going to go up, and then after that, they're in the playoffs. And if he gives the Dodgers a run for their money, forget about it. Who was commenting about this? Was it Bro Namath, our friend, who was saying also that if they make some noise in the in the playoffs, this card could be $500 this year. Now, I'm not selling them anytime soon. I think it's a $500 card maybe next year, and maybe a year after. But he's right. I mean, this is a card that could go to $500 if everything breaks right for the kid this year. It's only like 16, 17 games left in the season. So I think he's done enough to win the MVP. Go ahead.
Two things, and then we'll wrap. I agree. I like Bo Bichette the chance of Bo Bichette's card going from 100 to 200, then Tatis going from 250 to 500, just in terms of a pure financial return, because if Tatis does go from 250 to 350, still not the same return as Bo Bichette going from 100 to 200. So just my take on that. Something that you taught me is, guys, if you're selling specifically these base cards, they've been selling a lot, and I think we should do an episode on this, a lot better as a lot. Somehow, some way, and this is completely changed in the game. Like, I'm seeing one-off Tatises sell for 225 to 250, where a lot of Tatises sell for 300 a piece when you're selling them in 3 and 5 quantities of 3 and 5. And
yeah,
that we should talk about.
So I hope that it's a little background music here, but I hope that it's not because those lots are Probstein and PWCC and that kind of stuff, and that the auctions are shilled. But yeah, you're right. And I think what it is those lots of 5, 10 Tatis, they're going to be 4-figure auctions. There's a different buyer looking for those. There's somebody who's looking to stockpile them, and it makes it easier to just grab 5 or 10 of them at the same time, and they're willing to pay more this way they don't have to hunt them down and pay shipping on each one and that kind of stuff. That's all. I mean, that's the only way I can explain it.
100%. This buyer time is more valuable for them than the few extra bucks. So they just want the deal. They want to get it in. This is the accredited investor we've been talking about.
Well, it makes
Love
sense.
you, Luca Nation.
Luca Nation. Let us know what you think. Thanks for listening.
Chris Hodge, House of Jordans, dropping tomorrow.
Thank you for spending some time with us on another episode of the Lucas, Tigers, and Bronze Oh My podcast. Do us a favor and like, subscribe. You know what? Don't just like and subscribe. Everybody does that. If you like us, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your enemies, tell everybody. And we hope you got something from spending some time with us today, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.